What I want to do in this session is give you a practical breakdown of evangelism. And so I want to give you implementation. How do you implement it in the congregational format? Now, I'm going to work with your elders, deacons, and preachers after this session. And we're going to get down to the nuts and bolts. But in this session, just with the men, with the young men of the church, I want to give you a 10,000-foot view of what congregational evangelism looks like. What do you have to do at the local level to make evangelism effective? So let's go ahead and get started. All right. It was Winston Churchill who once said, let me see if I got this on here. I do. All right. It's Winston Churchill who once said, "He who fails to plan is planning to fail." Brethren, if we have no plan, we're going to fail. And what I see in many of our churches is that we do not have a local plan for growth. We have a plan for India. We have a plan for South America. We don't have a plan for our local communities. So what we have to do is put together a plan that we can involve the whole church. This is not be a plan for the preacher. This is not be about Josh. It can't be just about Brian. It's got to be about the entire church. It's got to be your wives, your youth. Everyone's got to be involved because we're an army of soul winners. And an army only functions if the army is equipped and trained. But most of our armies are ill-equipped and untrained. Our members don't know what to do. They don't have the tools to do it. All right, and the preacher is kind of flying solo, and he's doing all he can, Josh and Brian, doing everything they can to keep this church, from going under, to provide a little bit of stability. Elders doing all they can. But if you don't involve those members, it doesn't matter how many hours you put in, the church cannot grow. So you guys are the engine. The family is the backbone. And what we want to do is equip you. We want to provide the support structure. We are not a missionary society. In other words, the School of Evangelism doesn't do the work for you, but we provide the training. We are the School of Tyrannus. We are here to train, to equip, to provide for your local community and church the things needed to get into the community. I'm going to give you a 10-point plan. It's a real simple plan. These are 10 basic things you can do as a church. So let's go ahead and get started. Number one, you have got to procure your equipment. Okay, you have got to have the equipment you need to give the members so they can reach the lost. The members will not be effective if you don't give them the tools. So a fisherman has equipment. They have a fishing pole, a tackle box, lures, string, swivels, bait, bobbers. They have what they need. A carpenter has a toolbox. He has hammer. He has a level, a triangle. He's got the equipment in order to accomplish his task. A carpenter is only as good as his tools. A fisherman is only as good as the equipment. But what about a Christian? What are our tools? What do we need in order to accomplish our mission? Brethren, we need Bibles. It's amazing how many people in our communities don't have Bibles. All right, they've never seen a Bible. They don't own a Bible. And so at the basic level, a church needs to have Bibles. We need to have large print Bibles. We need to have gift and award Bibles. We just need to have them here. It's not that you need to order them and wait for 2 weeks. You need to have them here. Make sure that the community has access to Bibles. Number two, we need evangelistic equipment like Back to the Bible. Doesn't matter. Believe the Bible. And if you want to use Fishing for Men. If you want to use Ivan Stewart's Open Bible Study, Ivan Stewart. Searching for Truth. But we need equipment because our members cannot evangelize if they don't have the equipment. How many of you go to work and then they don't give you the equipment? Okay, every time you go to work, they give you what you need, whether it's IT equipment, whether it's it's networking equipment, whether it's a hand cart, a backhoe, a tractor, a car, a transportation. Whatever it is, the work provides you the equipment to succeed. A church is responsible for providing its members the equipment to succeed. And every church of Christ I've ever been to provides the equipment to have the fellowship meal. Think about it. And we've got ovens, refrigerators, microwave, ice machines, sinks, industrial equipment. We've got tables and chairs and knives and forks and spoons and cups. And we've got coffee pot, coffee stirrer, coffee creamer, coffee cup, coffee stirrer. We have everything we need for our coffee. Where is the equipment to seek and save the lost? Where is it? In some churches, it's not there. In fact, we've got everything we need for our teachers. We have crayons, and markers, and safety scissors. Don't forget the safety scissors. And we have Astro Bright paper and copy machines and laminators and die cut machines. Brother, we have everything we need to open a soup kitchen. We have everything we need to open a school. Do we have what it takes to equip our people to reach the lost? We need to provide our members materials to bring people. If you expect the members to bring people, there are tools that you can give members to help them invite the community, to teach people, new converts for the community. We need to equip the local church. That's the most fundamental basic level. Step number 1, procure your equipment. Step number 2, we need to place it in a highly visible place. In so many of our churches, the materials we need are locked in the library. They're in the preacher's office. We need an evangelism center. That evangelism center should be where you'd have to trip over it to get out of the building. So wherever the people come in, wherever they gather, we need a table full of evangelism materials. We need to make sure our members have access to it. When you go to work, they give you the equipment, they place it where you can get it, they don't lock it away, they don't make sure that you never have access. Brother Wendell Winkler once said, the most neglected room in the Church of Christ is the baptistry. The second is likened unto it. It's the library. Do not stick your stuff in the library. No one goes in there. Put it out on a table where people have access to it. Give them as many back to the Bibles as they want. Brethren, if we can spend $50,000 resurfacing a parking lot, we can spend a little money equipping the brethren with back to the Bible. We should not have a crisis because we equip our people. Our people need the tools. We have more tools right now in the kingdom of God than at any point in our history. Would you agree with that, Brian? I mean, think about World Video Bible School. Think of the videos that have been produced. Think of house to house, heart to heart, and all of the equipment that's available. That entire table is full of nothing but equipment for church members. We can equip our people, but we've got to make it where they can get to it. If we hide it in the preacher's office, they're not going. If we lock it in a room, they're not going. Brethren, put it out in the middle where they would have to trip over it to get out of the building. Okay, do not hide this stuff. Give them as many muscle and shovels as they want. Give them whatever it is they need in order to reach the people in their community. That's number 2. It's a very simple step. Step 1, procure your equipment. Step 2, put it out there where people can get it. Step 3, all right, train the people how to use your equipment. How many of you have ever been to a training class at work? How many of you have been to training class? A training class? What kind of training did you do? About a little bit of any safety training? Training how to use equipment? In fact, I would suspect this. All of you have been to training. And it's part of your ongoing job. You have legal training. You have safety training. You have equipment training. You're always going to be trained. You're trained at school. You're trained how to do just about everything. Why does a company spend money training? Why do they do that? They want you to do your job efficiently. If you go work for Toyota, you're going to be trained how to do it the way Toyota wants you to do it. Okay, if you're in management, you're going to Japan. They're going to send you, and you're going to learn how to do it the way they want you to do it. Every company does that. From Chick-fil-A to Ford Motor Company to Toyota, they're going to train you how to do your job. They want you to be efficient. My father was the head of the training department for Delta Airlines. The budget for the 737-800NG was enormous. Okay, they spent a ton of money training people. Training's important. We don't want people to have accidents when we're working with aircraft and moving tens of thousands of people across the country. Training is key to success. The military constantly trains their soldiers. It's an ongoing life of training. Now, let's be real. How many of us in this room right here have ever been to a training class that would teach us what to do when a visitor walks through the doors? What do? How many of us have ever been to a training class that would teach us how to be a silent partner in a Bible study? How many of us have ever been to a training class that would teach us how to invite someone to church? How many of us have ever been to a training class that would teach us how to knock a door? What do we say at the door? What shouldn't we say? How many of us have ever been to a training class that would teach us how to conduct a Bible study? How many of us have been to a training class that teach us what do we do with new converts? How do we mentor new converts? What classes do they need to take? What do we say to new converts? Here's my point. In the Church of Christ, few of us, almost none of us, have been trained how to do these things. Brian, we go through preaching schools and don't even get classes like that. We'll get classes in Greek, in Hebrew. We'll learn how to dissect the text. We'll learn how to do exegesis preaching. We're going to learn grammatical construction. We're going to learn how to do deep and diving research. But we're not taught how to do the very basics of human relations. We need an HR department. We need to be taught in our churches how to evangelize. And that's the point I'm trying to make. That's number 3. We must train the people how to use back the Bible. We've got to train them how to use believe the Bible. We've got to train them how to use does it matter. We've got to train a group of Christians what to do when visitors walk through the doors. We've got to train people how to pass out invitation cards. We've got to train our youth group how to greet new movers because they are the most effective evangelists you've got for people moving into your community. There is no one in this church more effective than them, and they don't even know how to do it. And we've got to train them. If you will send these guys out on Sunday afternoon with your young ladies, and you send them to all the new movers, and you greet them, and you train them what to say, I promise you get results. Would you guys like to know how many people are moving in to the Lake Forest area every month? Would you like their name and address? Would it be worth something to you? Anybody here own a business? Anybody ever own a business? Lawn care company? Okay. All right. If you owned a business and I came up and I said, I'll give you the name and address of every person moving into this community, would that be worth something to you? I've got their name and address and I'm going to give it to you. I bought it. We buy it for every church. We buy their names and addresses. And brethren, all you've got to do is go out and meet them. They are moving into your communities by the boatloads. You have a massive influx of people moving here right now. It's massive. And if you were to learn how to go greet people and learn how to use the tools, you'll get results. Number 3, we must train the people. When do we train them? Sunday morning. You know why? Because if you don't use that pulpit, they're not coming. It's obvious. It's obvious. Look at our attendance this morning till now. So if you think they're going to stay and let you train them, you think wrong. They're not. They're not staying. You got to use your Sunday morning pulpit time, and you got to present lessons and sermons that train your church members how to identify a contact. John 4. You've already been getting some of it. She's the woman at the well. And what Jesus did to that woman is absolutely amazing. There's an application to that sermon, and it's coming. It's not just a sermon. You see, all along the way, there is training that's being provided, and there is an operational model that must be followed. You cannot just sit in the pew and go home. We have got to take advantage of our opportunities. And when our churches are together and when we're in worship services and have a preaching opportunity, let's train the church members. What if we passed out, I don't know, back to the Bible? I know, Josh, you went over this a few years ago, but it's been a few years. What if you passed out back to the Bible to every person sitting in the pew and Brian preached it? And everybody got to learn how to use it. And everybody got their own set. And everybody made notes on what to do and how to do it. And you had a PowerPoint sitting on the screen. What if we trained, 125 members how to use a Bible study? What might they do if you do that? Anybody have a comment? What might they do? They might actually use it. They might actually go out and try to reach somebody. And so when we train people, they use the training. But I promise you this. If you don't train them, well, I'm just going to quote Bobby Bates. I like my way of doing things better than your way of not doing things. Because if you don't do anything, nothing happens. So we must train our people. We must provide opportunities for them. Or they're not doing it. I guarantee they're not going to do it. Number 4. We've got to promote an evangelistic atmosphere in our churches. Brethren, we have got to promote evangelism in everything we do. Every youth activity, y'all have youth activities? Every youth activity that goes on in a church should focus on soul winning. Everything you do should focus on how do we win a soul? Think of the opportunities our youth have. They go to school. They have peers. People live in their community and subdivisions. It's an enormous opportunity. Your youth group can double in a few years. You guys can be instrumental in bringing people to Christ if we expect it. But if we don't expect it, you won't do it. Jerry Jenkins was known as one of the late great evangelists, 1970s. Roebuck Parkway Church of Christ. Anybody heard of that church? It was one of the largest churches in the country. It was north of Birmingham, Alabama. And Roebuck Park grew to 2,000 members. Huge. And someone asked Jerry, how did y'all become one of the largest churches of Christ in America? He said, the funnel. They said, what? The funnel. We put the funnel in the church. He said, what do you mean? He said, we put a funnel in the church. We called it evangelism. And if it's not evangelism, we don't do it. If it's not evangelism, we stop it and we reform it. Every company understands this. Ford Motor Company has a funnel. It's called produce cars. And if it doesn't produce cars, we don't do it. You know why? Because their entire company depends upon that. What happens when a company loses sight of their mission? What happens when a company forgets why they exist? What happens when a company stops focusing on their purpose? They go bankrupt. As soon as Ford Motor Company stops producing vehicles, they no longer are Ford Motor Company. What happens when the church stops doing her job? What is the job of the church? To make disciples. When we stop making disciples, then we begin to become less effective. Put the funnel in it. Let me give you examples. I want to give you practical examples of this. All right, so I get a phone call from the Carnes Church of Christ, Knoxville, Tennessee, 400 members. Steve Higginbotham's the preacher. The elders say, hey, Rob, we know you're coming to do this campaign and teach us how to evangelize. They said, we've got a backpack drive scheduled when you're coming. They said, we would like you to make it an evangelistic event. Would you help us? I said, absolutely. So I thought about, how do you make a backpack drive? You know what a backpack drive is? You know what that is? Okay, backpack drive is when everybody donates backpacks and materials and you pass it out to the community before school starts. Okay, it's a great work. It's a benevolent work. All right, now, I get there. The deacon of the backpacks takes me to the closet and he shows me all the backpacks. I've never seen so many backpacks. We have everything we need. I noticed there are cones and there is yellow tape. I said, brother, tell me, how do you do it? He said, well, we cone off the parking lot. We tape it off. He said, we run them through the parking lot. We get them under the awning. We give them a backpack. We give them information about the church, and we go to the next one. He said, we'll pass out 400 backpacks. What's your plan, Mr. Rob? I said, I said, I want you to put the backpacks in the classrooms. I said, I want you to require the people to walk into your church building. I want your members to do an open house and take them through your church building and introduce them to the teachers where they're going to be attending when they come. And I want your teachers to interact with those children, give them their backpacks. I want you to take them to the fellowship hall, and I want you to have a meal with them and get their contact information, and then walk them to the car. He looked at me and says, we can't pass out 400 backpacks like that. I said, yes, but you'll have a Bible study the same day, and they did. They baptized 100 people in 2 years. Because the backpack drive better be about evangelism or you better stop. Brethren, you are not the Lions Club. We are the church of Christ. Our job is to seek and save the lost. And I don't have a problem giving out backpacks, but we better have a Bible study attached to it. We don't just pass out backpacks to pass out backpacks. Hello? Yes. Yes, we help people. Oh, yes, we give out food. Yes, oh, yes, we pay light bills. Oh, yes, we pay rent. Yes, we help with electric bills. Oh, yes, we help with automobile maintenance repairs. Oh, sir, I've been looking for this church. I'm so glad I finally found somebody. Sir, I can't wait to get help. When can you help me? We do that Sunday morning at 9:30, and we can't wait to meet you. Oh, I just can't get there Sunday morning at 9:30. That's okay. We do it again at 10:30. Well, I just can't make it at 10:30. Sunday mornings aren't good for me. And I said, well, that's okay. We do it again on Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. Oh, well, I just don't think I can make it on Sunday. The whole day is just not a good day. Don't worry. We do it again on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and we can't wait to meet you. Oh, sir, I don't have a car. Don't worry. We'll pick you up. Here's the change. All benevolence happens inside the church building. No more charlatans taking you for a ride. You want help from the church, you can show up. We'll pick you up. If you want some other kind of help, you can go to the government and get it. We're not a government agency. We're the church. Our job is to seek and save the lost. We changed the entire way we did benevolence at Jacksonville, and look what we got. Oh, man, this thing's irritating. We're going to have to get an extension for that back there. Her name is Kim. Kim is someone new in the community, and she called the church looking for help. Well, she showed up at the church building because that's the only way we do it. My wife and I took Kim out to eat because we always take visitors out to eat. After we did that, we took her to the Dollar General. Y'all have Dollar Generals? Okay, oh yes, everybody has a DG. Multiple DGs. And so we got her a few things. We got to know her. We ended up helping her move into a new place. She has some health problems. It's okay though. And as we were sitting on the couch, as she had 70 cards surrounding her, I mean, it was incredible. I mean, she was just surrounded by cards, surrounded with love. The members had brought her food. I'm sitting right next to her. My wife is. I said, Miss Kim, I got a question for you. What do you think about the Jacksonville Church of Christ? Oh, I love it, Rob. It's the nicest church. Second question. What's my second question? Anybody know what it is? What is it? Do you know a lot about the Jacksonville Church of Christ? She says, I don't know much about you. What's my third question? Would you like to know more about it? Oh, she says, I would. I just so happen to have these little booklets. Go do a Bible study, son. That's yours. It's amazing what happens when we do Bible studies. You can meet her today. She's a member of the church. We changed the entire way we did benevolence. You want help? You're coming inside the church building. That's it. Well, I just can't wait. I'm so sorry you've waited for 40 years. 4 more days ain't going to kill you. We want you inside the church building because they always have a sob story every single time. All right, let's keep going. Number 5, we're going to produce contacts. It's going to be the number 1 work we do. Of all the things you can do at a church, there's nothing more important than step 5. You know why? Because you can have all the step 1 and 2s you want. You can do all the step 3 you want. You can have step 4 just perfected. If you don't have step 5, you have nothing. You need people. You need contacts. When churches call our school and they say, Rob, we're struggling, I track, I write down, I take notes. The number 1 problem the Church of Christ has in America, the number 1 problem with evangelism in our churches is here. They don't have contacts. If you don't have contacts, you're dead in the water. It's like Walmart without customers. You can have all the product you want, but it don't matter, does it? It's like an airline without passengers, a teacher without students, an army without recruits. It doesn't matter. A football team with no players. You can have the perfect stadium. You can have the state-of-the-art equipment. What good is it if you have no players? What good is evangelism if we don't have people? Brethren, you have got to teach the church how to do this step. 60%, let me repeat, 60% of your efforts are right here. It's all right here. A business calls it customer acquisition. It's a very, very important part of their survival. If they don't have them, they go bankrupt. So how do we get contacts? Number one, make a target list. You have 130 people in the pews, and they all know 10 people that are lost. That is 1,300 contacts, and you haven't even broke a sweat yet. All you got to do is call for them. All you got to do is start activating them. All you got to do is come up with a plan and I'm going to give it to you. Brethren, let me be very clear. We're not going to let the members of this church walk out of the building without giving us contacts, or you'll feel guilty. And shame is a biblical emotion. Shame them. Do you really want to leave this church building and not help us reach your neighbor? Really? Because Christianity just doesn't sit in a pew. Christianity is about reaching the lost. And so I have no qualms about shaming the brethren. And sometimes we need to be shamed. Sometimes we need a preacher to wake us up and help us realize that my family that's lost, I'm the bridge, and I better get involved in this. I need to get involved with my neighbor. I need to help people come to Christ. I don't expect you to do the Bible study, but you could at least give me a name. It's the very least you can do. So we're going to focus on point one. Point two, house to house, heart to heart. We're going to promote our church. Brethren, if the people in your community do not know you're here, they're not coming. Okay, they're not coming. It's very easy for people to live within just a few miles of a church and never know you exist. They go up and down the street. They don't even know. They don't know who you are. And they just keep doing it every day. They never know who you are. And so we must advertise and promote our churches. If advertisement and promotion did not work, Walmart would not do it. Walmart does it because it works. The reason it works is because we're going to send it right into your mailbox. We're going to place it right at your door. We're going to remind you consistently there is a Lake Forest Church of Christ who wants you to come worship. And we're going to give you an address, a phone number, and we're going to give you a website and a Facebook page. And we're going to give you our times of services. And we're going to offer community services at the bottom and say, if you need something, reach out to us. We love you. We're in this community to assist you. And you know what the biggest mistake churches make? So they sign up and they start sending this out. Okay, here's the biggest mistake they make. We're going to take that house-to-house publication, and we're going to see a phone number, and I'm going to call it. Guess who's going to answer? If you owned a business and no one ever picked up the phone, what would happen to your business? Thank you, it'd close. Brother, I'm going to relate some personal things to you. Because when I started this school, the only stipulation Alan Webster had for basically giving me the staff of house to house, that's what he did. He gave me their resources, he gave me their staff, he said, it's yours. He said, run with it. He said, whatever you need, but I have one stipulation. I said, what is it? Teach churches how to use house to house, heart to heart. They don't know how. I said, I'll do it. That was my deal. All right, so I thought this would be easy. I said, I have baptized so many people using this publication. I said, it almost does the work on its own. So I walk into an elders meeting. This is one of the first churches, Brian, I went to train. And so I'm sitting down, kind of like a board meeting. They had like a dozen elders, pretty large church. And I'm sitting in this room. They said, Rob, what's your big hitter? You know what that means, big hitter? That means what produces quickly and fast. I said, house to house, heart to heart. They said, we tried it, doesn't work, next. I said, wait a minute, it doesn't work? What do you mean? And so I started looking at how churches use it. And I called the phone number. I can never get anybody. I would call morning, I would call afternoon, brethren, I would call for days. If I can't get you, do you think the people in your community are going to try that hard? I doubt it. Then I started looking at their websites and their Facebook pages. Out of date, time of services, not even valid. How do I know that? Because sometimes when I'm traveling back home, I'll look up on the website, oh, this church meets at, and I go to the church. Guess what? They're not meeting there anymore. That just happened to me. In fact, one of my regional trainers was in Florida, in the state. He said, Rob, I need a church to worship at Sunday night. I said, just get on the website. He went to 2 churches. Neither of them were open. They were closed, but the website said they were open. He went to a 3rd church, and that church said, we're doing small groups tonight. Sorry, no one's here. Unbelievable. And if we ran a business like that, we'd be bankrupt. You would never survive. And so what I learned as I was developing this school is that most people have not a clue how to use this. So we developed training modules and troubleshooting guides. Y'all know what troubleshooting is? You ever troubleshoot like an air conditioner or a car? Yesterday, my son called me and he said, Dad, our 4x4 is not running. It's a side-by-side UTV. I said, troubleshoot it, son. I said, just troubleshoot it. You can find it. You don't need me. Troubleshoot it. So he texted me late last night. He said, Dad, it's the starter. I've got it troubleshot. I said, order the starter, son. Men know how. Men, we live for this, brother. I mean, that's what, troubleshooting? I mean, that's like chocolate to a woman. I mean, we get to troubleshoot. I mean, honey, I'm going outside, I'm going to troubleshoot. You know, it makes you feel real important. I mean, we'll sit there and start with step 1 and go through the process, and it's fun. I mean, there's something about being a man and troubleshooting. It just makes you feel good, you know? And we got troubleshooting sheets to help you, literally. So what I did is I formed troubleshooting sheets on this magazine to help a church use it correctly. I ask one question. If you say yes or no, you move to the next spot. And we figure out why it's not working. Sometimes it's not working because you're not doing it. This is a great tool, and it works extremely well. How well? Ask them. So I'm at Jacksonville, and I looked over my left shoulder. I noticed this couple with this woman sitting there. Alan Webster finishes his sermon. He walks down the aisle. I get out of my pew. I walk with him. And we got to the back. I said, Alan, who is that? He says, I have no idea, she's visiting. I've been gone for 3 weeks. So I said, Alan, I've got this covered. So I went in behind her. So you're her, and I come in here, and I just sit down. The closing prayer is said. She stands up, turns around. There I am. I have one mission. And I said, ma'am, my name is Rob. What's your name? She said, my name is Ellen. I said, Ellen, nice to meet you. I said, are you visiting? Well, I sure am. I said, well, great, Ellen. I've got a little gift for you. I went to get our gift baskets. I gave it to Ellen. She said, that was really sweet. I said, Ellen, I tell you what, we're a card-sending church. Could I get your name and address so we could send you some cards? Well, sure you can. So I got her name and address, and this is protocol. I'm going to teach you this. Everything I do is very methodical. I do the same thing every time. So I'm following my protocol. I'm getting what I need. I said, Miss Ellen, we got a little custom here at this church. Does anybody know what it is? Take them out to eat. I said, Ellen, we take visitors out to eat. Could we take out? Well, she said, well, I'd like to, but my husband's not with me, and he got a little sick this morning. She said, do y'all have an evening service? Glad we weren't closed. I said, yes, ma'am, 6 o'clock. She said, well, I'm going to come back tonight with my husband if he's feeling better. Well, sure enough, she comes, she sits down, my family sits with her. I've got one mission. Brethren, she is baptized and she doesn't even know it yet because she's on my target list. And when I put you on my list, I am relentless. It's just a process. Do you know why I'm so forward thinking? Do you know why I'm so certain? Because I know what this book does. All I've got to do is get her to this book. I've got to get out of the way and get her here. Because I know if I get her here, what's going to happen. And I said, Miss Ellen, she brought her husband. His name's Perry. I said, man, it's great. I said, hey, guys. I said, y'all want to take me up on my offer? I'll take you out to eat wherever you want to go. I said, Perry, what is your favorite restaurant? He said, Athena's. Oh, no, Athena's. Athena's. I don't ask that question anymore. I pick the restaurants, all right? And so I said, Perry, would you like to go to Athena's? I'll be glad to take you. He said, you take me to Athena's? I said, why not? He said, wow. He said, I'm going. And I'm feeling a little squeamish tonight. I said, can I do a rain check like Tuesday? And I said, sure. It'll take me till Tuesday to save up enough money to take them to Athena's. And anyway, but we're going to do it anyway. So on Tuesday, I get the reservations. Remember, I don't ask that. I pick the restaurants now. Zaxby's, much more efficient. And anyway, it works just the same. So we went to Afina's. We're sitting around the table. I have one mission, one thing I want. I will get it. Hey, Perry, we're going to go through the 3 questions. Remember, where are you from? What do you do for a living? He's in pest control. He's from the area. 3rd question, what do you enjoy doing? I like sports. Hey, I like sports too. I love it. I said, Perry, what do you like to watch? NFL football? No, disrespectful. I don't watch them anymore. Me neither. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I said, Perry, you like NBA basketball? No. I said, okay. I said, Perry, you like baseball? Too slow. I said, okay, sports. I'm trying to figure, okay, what sport do we watch here, Perry? And I said, Perry, what? He said, Rob, it's all in the college. I said, yeah, college. Here we go now. I said, Perry, what team do you root for? He said, go Alabama. Oh, no. Go Alabama. If I got to like Alabama football to get a Bible study, so be it. I don't care. Because I want the Bible study. That's all I want. And we're sitting there talking. I said, Perry, do you know tomorrow is the championship game for the college football? He said, yeah. I said, I'm sorry, Alabama's not in it. They cheated us. I said, I know, Perry. And you got to understand Alabama. They're a different creature, okay? They're very different. And I said, all right, Perry. I said, you know what? I'm still going to watch it, aren't you? He said, I wouldn't miss it. I said, did you know we're having a football party at my house tomorrow night to watch? Oh, what was that? That was my wife kicking me because she did not know about this party. I said, and you're invited. He said, really? I said, sure. He looks at his wife. It's like I was in 5th grade, brother. He says, honey, can we go to the Whitacres for the party? She goes, well, sure. She looks at my wife. She said, now what can I bring? My wife looks at me and goes, nothing. And she gives me that, that look that you know when you're in trouble. I mean, you know, all right? And so I was on my way home. My wife looked at me and she said, what party and who's going to this party? Honey, those are minor details. I said, well, minor details, honey. Anyway, they come over to the house, right, for the party. It's just them. It's a 2-person party. And we're eating, watching the football game. It's a blowout. I have one mission. Remember, one thing I want. And I said, Perry, could we talk church a little bit? Yeah. I said, I got this question. I can't get it out of my head. It's like, y'all showed up at the church, right? Yeah. Why? Like, why'd you come to Jacksonville Church of Christ? Well, he said, Rob, 21 years ago, you guys started sending us this publication, God House to House, Heart to Heart. I read it every time I get it. He said, you guys are always about the Bible. So my church doesn't follow the Bible anymore, Rob. We got men marrying men, women preachers. He said, it's just all changed. We want to find a church that follows the Bible. I said, Perry, do you know a lot about the Jacksonville Church of Christ? He said, I don't know a lot. I said, would you like to know more? He said, I kind of would. Don't worry, I'm still armed. I just so happen to have these little booklets. I'm always armed, fellas. Don't worry about it. And he said, wow. He said, Rob, I'd love to do it. And we did a Bible study, and look what happens when you do a Bible study. You baptize them, brethren. My entire ministry is to bring people to the cross. Everything I do is focused on it. All right. So we're going to promote our church. There are events that you can have. If you could get the word out to this community and have an event right here at this church, I could think of a few things. People will come. You need them coming. You've got to get the people who live around this church building to this church. And you got to think of what is that? What would get them here? And everybody put their heads together. What is it? All right, and let's promote it on the backside. And let's get them inside this church building. And let's make sure that when we give things away, we actually deliver on our promises. Because inside that magazine, we're always giving things away to the community. Like we're giving free religious books. We're giving free tracts. We're giving free DVDs. We're always giving free, the key word, we're giving them free spiritual tools. Now, what happens if you do that? I'll tell you what happens. Hello? Yes. Yes, this is Brenda. Yes, secretary. Oh, yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, ma'am. Your name is Brenda. Yes, okay. Oh, you just got married. Great. Oh, you want the free marriage material. Brenda will be glad to bring it to you. What's your address? And so the secretary got the address for Brenda. And she comes to me, she said, Rob, we've got someone in the community wanting the marriage material. I said, great. She said, Rob, should we mail it? No. But Rob, we always mail it. I said, and we also don't baptize. I said, one of the things we're going to do here is hand deliver everything. And she said, okay, we've never done that before. I said, I promise you it will pay off. So she gives it to me. She said, well, you can go deliver it. So my wife and I went down the road to Brenda's house. Brenda opens the door. Hello. My wife, of course, is the first face she sees. That is strategic. Don't let them see your face. They won't open the door. They're going to see that right there. They won't. They're scared to death. All right? Let them see your wife. They will open, or let them see them. They will open the door for you. You're young. They'll open the door. And so she opens the door. She peeps. Yes. I said, ma'am, are you Brenda? Oh, yeah, I am. I said, I'm Rob. My wife, Nicole. We're from house to house, heart to heart. You wanted the free marriage? Oh, yes, I did. I said, we have brought. Oh, that's so sweet of you to bring that to me. And I said, ma'am, I said, we have here some videos, some books on marriage. I said, may I ask a personal question? Well, yes. Did you just get married? Oh, I did. She said, I did just get married about a month ago. I said, well, congratulations, Brenda. Who is the lucky man you've married? Brenda said, oh, he's right over here on the couch. And she points to him. And I see him. He's laying down and he's asleep in. I said, well, congratulations, Brenda. She said, well, thank you so much. And I said, well, Brenda, where are you from? She says, I'm from the Oxford. I said, Brenda, what do you do for a living? She says, I'm a home health nurse. And my husband, Daniel, he works at a lawn care company. I said, well, wonderful. She said, sir, she says, can I ask you a question? She says, do you know where we could find a church? I said, yes, ma'am. I said, there's one right across the school over here. It's called the Jacksonville Church of Christ. She says, well, good. She said, we haven't found one yet. Now, this is going really good. I said, yes, ma'am. I said, well, tell me more about your husband. Well, she says, let me just say it. That man comes home every day. Now we go into another gear. That man comes home every day. He gets on the couch and he goes to sleep. All I want to do is talk to my husband. He's sleeping. I don't know what that man does all day, but all he does is sleep, and he's asleep. And I'm talking to Brenda. And I said, Brenda, he probably works hard. You know, he's kind of tired. Well, I think he needs to talk to me just a little bit, don't you? I said, probably so. And I said, well, maybe one day I could meet Daniel. She says, Daniel. She says, sir, let me ask you another question. Do you know anything about the Bible? I said, oh, just a little bit. She said, good, because that man knows nothing about the Bible. She said, you stay right there, sir. Now, my wife and I are just blown. We don't know what to do, right? So she goes over to the couch and starts shaking the Daniel. And she shakes him, and she shakes him again. And then she wakes him up and brings Daniel to the door. Now, Daniel is standing, big Daniel, right there. And I'm going to try to mimic this woman. All right. She says, Daniel, we're going to teach you the Bible. You could have blown me over. I said, my wife will bring the chocolate chip cookies tomorrow. Always eat. We baptized 7 people. Remember Geneva? Top right-hand corner. That's a neighbor. It's amazing what happens when we evangelize. It is absolutely. This right here, you got to learn how to knock doors. Most of our churches don't have a clue how to do this. I was with the School of Preaching students. Brian, I want to tell you a story since you're working with this school. I said, guys, you ever knock doors? They said, yeah. I said, what's your success rate? They said, about 1%. I said, I'll give you a 25% success rate if you'll do what I teach you. If I could guarantee that you guys would have a 25% success rate if you knock doors, would you be more inclined to do it? You know one of the biggest reasons why our members don't knock doors? Because it doesn't work. Because we put a lot of effort into it, and we get cussed. We have dogs chasing us, and it just doesn't work. And we've tried it before. If your idea of door knocking is saying, hey, we're having a gospel meeting, a special speaker on Sunday, come and visit, it doesn't work. But we have 4 different strategies we use at the door. And I'm going to give you my numbers. Watch the screen. Here it is. That's our numbers. I've duplicated that all over the country. I've done it in Texas. I've done it in Illinois. I've done it in Virginia. I've done it in Alabama. I've done it in Georgia. I've done it twice in Tennessee. And I'm going to do it in Ohio this summer again. It's called the American Mission Campaign. And it's free. We will give you lodging and food if you'll come help us. There is advertisement for it on that table. I can't think of a better thing for you guys to do this summer than come do an American Mission Campaign. We'll teach them how to do it. We have whole groups of people come. How do you do it? I'll give you a hint. They open the door. Hey, my name is Rob, my wife Nicole. We're Christians down the street, and our church is having a prayer meeting Sunday, and we're praying for people in the community. And we're trying to get a list of names of people who may have needs, and we're just going to pray for them and pray God to help them. Do you know anybody that's sick or needs some prayers? Oh, I need a prayer. I've got this heart condition. Doctor just diagnosed it. And she said, could you pray for me? Yes, ma'am. What is your name now? And it would be okay if our church sent you some cards. Look at your rate. Look at your success rate. 30% success rate Sunday afternoon. That means 30% of the doors we knocked became a contact. If I could give you a 30% success rate, Josh, you think you do it? I got 4 strategies to train you. I want you to look at that one. Anybody, this Thursday, is somebody itching to ask? Go ahead and ask the question. Y'all see Thursday? Ask the question. It's kind of odd, isn't it, Thursday? What is it? What's the question?
Why is there a disproportionate amount on Thursday?
And how old are you?
I am 15.
And he gets it. He's 15 and he gets it. Y'all see it? 83%. You know how I do that? I'll show you. Because we use this next strategy right here. It's called new movers. And we're going to go to new movers' houses. And we get an 83% rate of return for new movers. And so we're going to teach you what to say at the door. And we're going to bring them a basket of gifts. And we're going to welcome them to the community. And we're going to say, our church wants you to know that we're glad you're here. What can we do to help you? 83% of those people become a contact for your church. David Shannon said this from Freed Hartman. People are most likely to change churches when they move. They are moving. They don't have a church. You know, most people today don't care where they go to church. This is not the 1970s when Baptists are Baptists, Methodists are Methodists, and Unitarians, we don't know what they are. They don't either. And so any case, people go, they don't care where they go to church. I have a question for you men. When people move around this church building, why not come here? Because they don't know you're here. What if you went to their door and gave them a gift and said, we'd like you to come visit with us? Guess what happens? All right. Go back one, if I can get to go back. There we go. All right. Cards. Lots of cards. We're going to send cards, unlike you've ever done it before. This is not cards to the brethren. We're not going to send cards to Josh. Josh, I love you. Josh, you're not getting a card. I expect you to come to church if you get a card or not. All right? These are cards to lost people. These are cards to the people around our community that got cancer, that have lost a loved one. It's called the obituaries. All you got to do is read them. Okay, we're going to flood them with cards. 2 to 3 cards every single day for 3 to 4 weeks. And we're going to get everyone in the church involved. We're going to form teams, highly organized, and we're going to send out these cards. And guess what happens when we do that? I got home, one of my elders, Homer Smith, said, hey, Rob, you just got home. He said, we've got one ready for the transition. Her name's Bettina. Would you go see her? I said, yes. So my wife and I went over to her house. We walked inside the door because she immediately invited us in. You know why? Bettina, my name's Rob, my wife Nicole. We're from Jacksonville Church. Jacksonville Church? You're that church sending me all these cards. I said, yes. Well, she said, you just come on in, sir. We've never met. That's what cards do. I don't get cussed at, Josh. There's no cussing here. They love you because you love them first. That's a biblical thing. And so we get inside the house. She's got cards everywhere. And she comes up. She's an older lady. Miss? Yes. My wife says, yes. What's your name again? Nicole. Nicole, N, A, B, C, D. She has categorized the cards. She goes, oh, N, there. Miss Nicole, there's your card right there. You've sent me 2 of them. Unbelievable. She knew where her card was. She had counted them. You see what she's holding, don't you? A card. You do see what's on the table, don't you? And that's exactly what we did. Guess what happens when you do a Bible study, fellas? His name is Alan Webster. And he's the reason I started the House to House, Heart to Heart School of Evangelism. I wouldn't have this school without him. He believed in me when I didn't even believe in myself. When he asked me to start this school, I laughed and I said, no way. He said, Rob, it'll work. I promise it'll work. He said, you need to do it. 6,000 baptisms later. I got one more thing I'm going to cover, then we're going to stop. See if I can go to the next slide. All right, visitors. Why are visitors important? I'll tell you why. Because they're baptized at the highest rate. No one is baptized at a higher rate than a visitor. Did you realize last year in our school that 90% of the baptisms resulted from visitors? They're coming to your building. There's a reason they are here. Okay, it's, in the commercial world, they call that low-hanging fruit. Okay, it's just, all you got to do is do this. It just drops in your hand. All right, so they are inside your church building. So if we could develop a protocol on what to do when a visitor walks through the door and train our church members, you would have immediate results. This is what we call a big hitter. All right, so we've got a lot of analytics here. So you guys that like numbers, you're going to like this stuff. Okay, where's the engineer? There he is. Numbers, get ready. All right. Per 100 members, you need 5 to 7 visitors per Sunday to achieve positive growth, according to the Pew Research study. I'm going to give you numbers because I use these as my baseline, 5 to 7. Okay, that's baseline number 1. Baseline number 2. Per 100 members, okay, you need 4 families trained in order to greet visitors. 4 trained families in order to initiate the visitor protocol. So per 100 members, you need 4 families trained for visitors. Okay, that's the second baseline. Third baseline is this. As you are going through your studies, we have noticed that visitors like one thing overwhelmingly when they visit. There's one thing that visitors love to do more than anything else when they come to a church for the first time. Does anybody, well, you're close. Okay, it's not eat. Do you know what it is? When they come to a church, what is it that they want to do? Because you need to know this. Because if you don't know it, you can't give it to them. You can't answer Brian, because I think you know the answer. Receive a gift. It's actually trackable. It's not the overwhelming answer. What is it that they want more than anything else when they walk into a church? Be greeted. It's on the list. It's not it. Talk about themselves? Okay. You've been listening. Okay. But that's not it either. All that stuff is good, but it's not it. Okay. Now let me frame it a little different way. Brother, have you ever, what's your name again? Dustin. You ever visit churches when you travel? Yes. Okay. When you and your wife walk into a church building, okay, you've never been there before. Okay, it's kind of awkward, isn't it? Because you don't know anybody and they're staring at you. Okay, what do you want to do? Yeah, when you get in that building, what do you want to do?
Sit and worship.
There you go. That's the answer. They want to sit down. That's the number one thing a visitor wants to do when they walk through the doors. Since that is the number one thing visitors want to do when they walk through the doors, should we facilitate that? Should we not make that the number one priority of our 4 highly trained families to get them to sit down? So when we walk into this church building, when someone walks into this church building, is it obvious where the auditorium is? It's not, is it? You could actually walk in here and get lost, right? Is that true? You could park out here, walk into one of these doors and not entirely know where you're at. Okay? So it's kind of uncomfortable. And it's like that for a lot of churches. So what we need are door greeters. Door greeters are normally people that just all you do is smile and welcome. And when you notice it's a visitor, you're going to ask a pre-programmed question. Hey, you're visiting. You guys from the local area? Yeah, we just moved. Hey, we'll show you around. Let me take you to the auditorium so you can sit down. So you're going to walk them into the auditorium, sit them down, and you're going back to the door. That's all you do. Inside the auditorium are 4 highly skilled Navy SEALs. We're sending in SEAL Team 6. Those SEALs, Brian, would you role play with me for a minute? Could you sit here? You're a visitor. I'm going to use Brian as my example. So Brian's here. He's a visitor. He sits down. I'm one of the Navy SEALs. I grab my wife, and I grab my tools. I sit down. He's right there. I'm going to sit right there. I'm never going to sit with him. That's his space. So I'm going to sit here. Sir, hey, my name is Rob Whitacre. What's your name, sir? Brian. Brian, you visiting from the local community?
Yes.
Great, man. I'm glad you're here. You guys just moved here, or just wanted to come by and check us out?
Yep.
Great. Both. Wow. We're so glad. Well, this is my wife, Nicole, and glad to meet you. Hey, we love visitors, and we've got this gift that we give visitors. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get it. So I'm going to go get this gift bag that my wife is teaching your ladies how to make. Because right now, my wife is giving your ladies a shopping list, and she is telling the ladies that they need to go shopping in the name of the Lord. It's God authorized. They've never been more excited in their life, because they're going to come to the elders and say, God has authorized us to go shopping, and you're going to let them. And so we're going to bring the visitor bag, and we're going to get, isn't evangelism fun? And we're going to give him the visitor bag. And then I'm going to say this. I'm sitting, by the way. Hey, we're a card-sending church. Would it be okay if I get your name and address so we could send you some cards? What is he going to say? 99 times out of 100, he's going to say, sure, I'll be glad to give you my... 1 out of every 100 does not give you their name and address. Do you know why? Because they're serial killers, and they never give addresses. Okay? Serial killers never give addresses. So y'all have a security team here, Brian. Alert them. Tell them he won't give us his name and address. Sit real close. Now, so I've done this for years. Now, let me ask you guys this question. What's the number one way we get name and address? How do we normally get that from people? Well, let me give you the old way. There's a card in the pew back in front of you. If you fill out the card, we'll have a record of your attendance. Does that work? No. But now, Brian, we are sophisticated. We don't use cards. You know what we use? QR codes. How many people do the QR code? Very few. Just very few. So how do we get that name and address? I give him a gift, and he gives me the information. It works 99% of the time. Brethren, you should never let a visitor walk into your assembly and walk out without getting their contact information. Never. After services, I'm going to go through my protocol. I've got the contact information. Brian and his wife have listened to the preacher. Hey, Brian, what'd you think of our preacher this morning?
Very good.
I bet you do. I bet you do. Yeah. And he does. He likes the preacher, doesn't he? All right. And so I said, hey, Brian, we got a little custom here. We always invite visitors out to eat. Our treat, we'd like to get to know you. Could we take you out to eat? 50% of the time they say yes. Now I'm prospecting. I already got contact. I finished step 1. Step 1 is contact. Now I'm doing step 2. By the way, if he says no, he's still going to get step 2 because we're sending cards. Lots of cards. 3 or 4 cards a day for 3 to 4 weeks. I'm just giving you a sampling of our training. If you don't train the church members how to do what I just did, they will never do it. The elders have to assign you and say, I need you on that team. We need a coordinator. Would you coordinate that group? We need to train those people. Brian, preach your sermon on visitors. That is what an evangelistic church does. And that's what Jerry Jenkins did. He trained the church. You want a church that's focused on soul winning? You must train the members. It's the only way it works. Brethren, God bless you for listening. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful. I wish I could tell you their story. I got so many of these I could relate to you. But the bottom line is that God did not give you a mission that fails. He gave you a mission that works. He is not a losing God. He is a victorious God. In fact, may I end with this. Your God doesn't know how to lose. But we do. And we better change our culture. Let's pray. Father, thank you for being our God, and thank you, Father, for the opportunity to be together. Bless these men, bless the elders. Father, bless us that we might be your servants and help us to be laborers in the kingdom. May souls be saved, may the church grow. We pray for this church as they focus on souls, as fathers, these elders lead this effort. We pray for Brian as he teaches. Help this church, Father, put together an army of soul winners. And Father, Help us to put the devil on the run and to glorify the Son. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.